Welcome to this episode of Renovations for Beginners, a show where we show you, the viewers at home, the fundamentals to renovating, from conceptualising an idea to bringing it to reality. I'm Michael Dre, your host for the show, and you can follow us on Facebook. Just search for Renovations for Beginners, or you can email us on any aspects to renovating or questions you may want answered for upcoming shows on renovationsforbeginners@gmail.com. On today's shows, we are continuing from the last episode where we looked at getting the development approval and BA approvals. And so with the proposed renovation, we can now commit to getting more detailed drawings, engaging other consultants, and start to look at tendering the project to builders, knowing we don't need to change the overall design. Our guest for today's show, someone I've worked with recently on a school project, is a sole practitioner practicing in commercial and domestic architecture. John Blackley from John Blackley Architects. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, John, just give us a little bit of an insight into your practice. Is it? I'm assuming it's just yourself, is it?
Yes, it's just myself at the moment. A lot of architects work by themselves, so I do everything from the drawings to the site inspections to the specification writing, the whole bit, and the books.
And what sort of like projects do you use? Is it mainly residential renovations or?
It varies. Probably about 75% is residential, and of that 75%, probably another 75% of that is renovating existing homes as opposed to new homes.
Okay. So, you'll be right for the show. Eh?
Yes.
So as I said in the intro there, we talked about, we actually got to the stage where we got the BA and DA approvals. Now what we want to talk about is getting all the detailed drawings. So John, what can clients expect, as documents for their job?
Well, beyond the basic building approval drawings, you really need to nut down every sort of nut and bolt and finishes. So you might do, one thing architects do is electrical plans, lighting and power. You would do stair details if it's a two-storey place. You might have special window hoods. Architects design kitchens, bathrooms, laundries, linen cupboards, or anything that you might, need.
Okay. So going back to just the basics, so just so clients can understand, when you have a set of architectural drawings, you have your floor plans and your elevations and sections. Can you just kind of just list through what is a basic, set of documents for a residential house, and then we'll move on to.
Sure. Well, with the building approval, you only need your 1:100 scale drawings, basically, which is plus a site plan, of course, site plan, floor plans, elevations, sections. That's probably door and window schedules sometimes, because you need to do an energy efficiency submission report. So that would be your basic set of drawings. So, but architects tend to do construction details, larger scale, stair details, window details.
Now, is there any rule of thumb or rhyme or reason as to how many drawings you need for a project, or how little? What's the minimum? Because obviously clients would say to you, we only want to spend this much. You get cut down with your fees. So generally, what's the basic, basic commission for documents?
Well, the building approval is the basic document.
Okay, yep.
So you've floor plan, elevations, sections, and end of story.
Yep.
But architects get involved in cabinetry, windows and doors and that sort of thing. And part of an architect's or client's brief to an architect is to have a budget, and usually if something's bigger, the bigger the house, the more it costs, or the more complex the house, the more cost. So each time you sit down and have a meeting with the client, you try and update them with an opinion of the probable cost of the building. Yep. So if they say, well, we want everything that opens and shuts, they'll be more complex, cost more money, and architects often work on a percentage of the construction costs. So therefore, if it costs more, you tend to pay the architect more. But the architect doesn't deliberately make it more expensive. Everything's done in an interactive way so that you're singing from the same hymn sheet. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, you know, you as the architect would advise what level of documentation to go with, correct? Yep.
Sure,
Yep.
absolutely.
And is there, like, can you just highlight to the viewers at home if there's any, what risks there are, like if the clients decide, oh no, we only want the basic BA set and we'll go from there? Is there?
Sure. Well, the benefit of having more drawings or more documentation is that there's less room for variations and things like that. And you know, for instance, you might get a price from a builder, and he's allowed, you know, $5,000 for electrical, compared with if an architect drew all the power and the lights on a drawing and that was priced, and that might be $10,000 because the client's told the architect, well, I want, you know, X number of lights in the room, not one. I want X number of power points in the room, not one. So things like that. The more things that are left undocumented, everyone's making assumption. The owner's making an assumption. Oh well, surely they've allowed for 2 lights or this sort of staircase or painting, and the builder's thinking, oh well, I wanted to win the job. I'm not including, you know, painting.
So basically, obviously, the risk is that builders quote on quite a minimal amount of detail if you've got minimal amount of documents. And so therefore, obviously, when you do cover your documents, it will cover your project, your scope, as we call it. With the documents, you tend to get more of a finite tender price then, essentially.
Yes.
Yep.
And architects often say, well, if you pay the extra money to the architect and call tenders so that everyone's on the same playing field, the difference between the lowest tender and the highest tenderer will be more than the extra you pay the architect.
Yep, true. Yep. And now we're going on to tendering now. Just before we cut to the break, how do you, like, I know myself, I'd like to know this personally, being a builder, how do you or clients select builders? Like, what's generally, because I get a lot of people when they ring me up and they go, oh, we've just found you out of the phone book, or, you know, you're a friend, I got you from a friend of a friend of a friend. Is there generally, you know, what builders are there? Horses for courses per se, or?
Well, most architects have their favourite builders or a stable of builders that they work with. Yep. And for a builder to get on that list, I suppose they've got to at least have tackled, you know, 1 or 2 jobs beforehand. Yep. So architects really trust the word of other architects. Yep. So if I have a new project that's in a different geographical area, I mean, in my own case, if I have a job in Sandgate, I will start with whoever's geographically located near there, as opposed to the south side or the west side. Yep. So, you know, you're on the west side, you know, and now that we've worked together, you know, I would do that. And I get other architects ringing me saying, well, who do I get? And, you know, now I can say, well, you know, try Michael DeRay or you know, that sort of thing. So we have a little, you know, not an inner circle, but we actually trust what other architects say. No,
okay. Now, we might as well just cut to the break now. Then when we come back, we'll talk about, you know, the tender process and how, you know, like what questions we need to ask. So we'll take a break.